Here is something most people will never admit. The less someone actually knows, the more confident they feel about what they know. And the more someone truly understands, the more they realize how much they are still missing. Psychology has a name for this, but before we get there, let's talk about the 5 signs that your thinking might be working against you without you even realizing it. First, you are almost always certain you are right. Genuinely intelligent people doubt themselves constantly, not because they are insecure, but because they understand how complex most things actually are. They know there is always another angle they might have missed, but people with overconfidence bias feel certain about nearly everything. And here's the cruel irony. That certainty does not come from knowing more. It comes from knowing just enough to stop looking further. If you rarely question your own conclusions, you are probably not seeing the full picture. Second, changing your mind feels like losing. Updating your opinion when new evidence arrives is not weakness, it is literally what intelligence looks like in action. Smart thinking is flexible, it adjusts, it improves, but some people hold on to their original position no matter what, not because the evidence supports it, but because letting go feels like admitting they were wrong, and ego gets in the way of growth every single time. Rigid thinking does not protect you, it just keeps you stuck in the same place while the world moves on without you. Third, everything has a simple answer to you. Complex problems, complicated situations, nuanced topics. You have a quick answer ready for all of it. Psychology calls this shallow processing. The brain takes a shortcut, picks the most obvious explanation, and calls it done. But reality is almost never that clean. Real intelligence sits with complexity. It resists the urge to oversimplify. If everything seems obvious to you, that is not clarity. That is the brain avoiding the harder work of actually thinking it through. Fourth, you stopped being curious. Curiosity is one of the single strongest indicators of an active, growing mind. People who keep asking why and how, even about things they already partially understand, keep expanding what they know. But when someone believes they already know enough, the questions stop. And when the questions stop, so does the learning. A mind without curiosity does not stay where it is. It slowly shrinks back to what is comfortable and familiar. And comfortable and familiar is rarely where growth lives. Fifth, when something goes wrong, it is always someone else's fault. Everyone faces setbacks. Everyone deals with difficult circumstances and difficult people. But there is a difference between acknowledging external challenges and making them responsible for everything. Psychology connects intelligence with metacognition, the ability to look at your own behavior honestly and ask what role you played. People who never look inward never improve, because if the problem is always out there, you never have to change anything in here. Now here's what ties all of this together. None of these patterns feel like problems from the inside. Overconfidence feels like clarity. Rigidity feels like loyalty to your values. Oversimplification feels like cutting through the noise. Lack of curiosity feels like contentment. Constant blame feels like honesty about a difficult world. That is exactly what makes them dangerous. The people most limited by these patterns are usually the ones most convinced they do not apply to them. And that gap between how smart someone thinks they are and how clearly they are actually thinking, that is where real growth either happens or gets permanently blocked. The first step is simple. Be honest enough to ask the question.